Another week, another weekly update. Today we're going to be talking about the MetaZoo news for March 27th through April 3rd. But first, my weekly plea. YouTube tells me that about 70% of the people that will watch my videos are not subscribed. If that is you, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow and helps these videos reach more people that need to see these updates. Alright, to get started, the first update was on March 27th, and it was just a picture of some new sleeves that we haven't seen yet. The sleeves have Adam Ackler and Sam St. Clair on them, and behind them is a bunch of different dragons. You have Cumberland Dragon, Chibi Cumberland Dragon, you have Gassy, you have Dragon of Akanto Falls, Piazza Bird, and then two that I don't fully recognize on there as well. But really interesting there that it's all dragons for the beasties on those sleeves. So I imagine we're getting some special sleeves, maybe with a dragon set, maybe a subset there, or a special release of sleeves. And honestly, these ones look pretty awesome. I would buy these if they were just standalone. So we look at March 28th, we get a look at the fan art pack arts, and these are actually pretty cool looking. Very colorful. They have a watercolor kind of feel to them, and they have a pencil and paintbrush logo on them. So, I really like the art here, but what's really interesting is we get to see in the background of this image some of the cards that are going to be in the set. So we can see a good view of Chessie. I think we've seen that one before in some earlier previews there. Bloody Mary, which we've definitely seen before in some previews. Very hard to see here, but there's a green card with a dragon-like monster on it. That I believe that's the Crosswick monster. And then you can get the view of White Death, which is a kind of like a cat-type creature in the top right there. And then you can get some paws looking at some of the other parts of the image there. So getting a little preview of what some of those cards really look like, and those will be releasing in April. I had thought originally that they were going to be early April. That was actually the Magicast boxes. The fan art contest packs will be out later this month. Looking at March 29th around 1 p.m., we got a drop of some images of what I think is some new pins. Specifically, the preview has Mothman and Loveland Frogman, and the text of the update is silver and gold, silver and gold. So what I think this means is that we're going to be getting some raw silver and gold pins coming down the line. I don't know how this is going to differ from Pin Club, but I'll definitely keep you updated as I learn more about those. On March 30th, on their Facebook page, they dropped a preview of the Grim Reaper Revive board, which we've seen. But what we haven't seen before is the promo cards that are going to go with these. So in that image, you can see the promo card for Grim Reaper, which is front and center, matches the art of the board, makes a lot of sense. And behind that, you can see Metal Man of Alabama, which, as far as I'm aware, has not been confirmed yet. So we know now that we're getting a Metal Man board and promo there. Later in the day on March 30th, it was announced that they dropped the new rulebook on the website. There are new clarifications and updates there, so take a look at that. I am going to go through the rulebook myself now that I have my products and do a video on what's different between the previous rulebooks. From what I've heard, some of the trait symbols have been updated, so we'll cover that and any other clarifications or rule changes. I'm sure all of you already know at this point that on March 31st, around 12:48 a.m. Eastern Time, Mike had done a simple announcement saying it has been pulled. And the it he was referring to was, of course, the Green Man card. It was pulled from a blister pack on the night of the 30th. And so far, I've heard that there's been 4 pulled, and they're all pulled from blister packs. So the theory right now that people have is that Green Man can only be pulled from blister packs. We haven't gotten confirmation on that, but it is possible. I've already put my thoughts together in a video earlier this week about Green Man. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll put it on the end credits scene of this video, so you can go check that out after this. On March 31st, around 11 p.m., we got a video for the release of Wilderness, and this was actually pretty interesting. It was actual animation of Cumberland Dragon running through the forest, and other beasties watching him being like, what the heck is this guy doing? And at the end, it gets to the, okay, Wilderness out now, right? So really cool promo there. Very 80s kind of art feel to that, or animation feel to that. So that was fun to see. And Friday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, was actually a pretty big day for MetaZoo. And one of the first things we got a look at was MetaZoo Wilderness in Times Square. On their Facebook page, they released a video of the ad that was displaying in Times Square. It's gigantic on the side of a building, letting people know that Wilderness is now available. So that's really awesome. Very busy area of New York. I don't know how long that ad ran or if it's even still up, but it was definitely some good exposure for MetaZoo. April 1st was also the day that Magicast was added to MetaZoo Marketplace. There's 10,000 boxes that they released, and for a product where people didn't fully understand what was in the boxes, it sold out fast. We have a lot of trust in Mike and his team. I already did a video on that this week, so I'll also put that in the end credits if you want to check that out. But what was not released by the time I did that video was the second card that was shown in the announcements later that night, April 1st, which is an April Fool's card with the MetaPoo symbol in the bottom corner and a depiction of the team. And what I'm curious about is the fourth wall and the April Fool's card, MetaPoo cards, they don't really have a Magicast feel to me. So I'm really curious if those were April Fool's jokes. And that second card that was dropped is the, hey, April Fools, we got you. But the only thing really tying those two cards and the Magicast box together is that the website said MetaPoo in the description of Magicast. My understanding of Magicast, or what the Magicast release is supposed to be, is cards that we see from the original design of the game, which these two don't feel like they would be part of, especially the April Fool's card. So I'm hoping that we don't actually get those MetaPoo cards in the Magicast boxes, or if we do, they are special promos that came out for April Fool's Day specifically, and that instead we're going to get the Magicast set as we think it's supposed to be. So those are the major updates from Facebook and Discord for this week. What I didn't cover yet was the MetaZoo Hour, which happened on March 30th. And there's actually a lot of interesting topics to pull from this MetaZoo Hour. So the first one being that we should be hearing more details about the Target release in the coming days. Originally, we were told that Target would release in April, and it's going to be some Wilderness-themed promos there, so that makes a lot of sense that we're going to be hearing about that soon. We're now into April. I expect that's going to be mid to late month at this point that Target is going to launch. At the time of the MetaZoo Hour on March 30th, Mike had been asked what his favorite card in Wilderness was, and he said it hadn't been pulled yet, and Chaos Crystal Enthusiast, or Andy, had responded with a gif of Charlie getting his golden ticket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which we now know hints at the golden tickets being in Wilderness. We now have this confirmation that the golden tickets actually do exist. I had some videos out in the past few days about that, the announcement from Rudy, and people thinking it was an April Fool's joke. It's not. I don't really want to get into the details of the golden ticket at this time because I do have some theories, I have some observations on that really fit its own video rather than this weekly update, but I will show it in the video here just so you can see what that looks like. As we move on in the MetaZoo Hour, the comics obviously came up again, and this graphic novel that will be coming out, and Mike had announced that they're in collaboration with a major comic book maker at the moment, and there's going to be more to be announced on that soon. There was also a clarification on local game store pullout, and this has been a huge topic across everyone that has been doing MetaZoo videos. This comment from, I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, Mike saying that they're going to pull back from local game stores. And the clarification on this was, well, they're only going to be pulling back from ones that aren't doing events, which I think is really a good idea. They're making the strategic decision to say, okay, we're going to support local game stores, but only the ones that are helping support us. We're not just going to be a product on their shelf that hopefully someone picks up. We're going to be working with people that want to sell our product, that want to help us do tournaments. So strategically, I think it's a great idea for MetaZoo because it's going to actually prompt local game stores that want the product in their store to start running events. And hopefully we'll see what is the requirement for that. Does it have to be a weekly event, bi-weekly, monthly? To understand what the qualification is for a local game store to be part of the MetaZoo distribution. Something else really interesting around UFO. I don't really talk about NFTs too often because for me, it's not something I'm likely going to do. I feel like it's not something the average person or average MetaZoo person is going to do because of the cost behind it. You need to be pretty dedicated to pay $1,000 or more for an NFT for a game like this. And I'm not saying I'm not dedicated, I'm just not that dedicated yet. But the interesting thing that was brought up at the MetaZoo Hour is for UFO, they're planning to have NFT redemption cards as part of the set. So it's probably similar to these golden tickets that we're finding in Wilderness. We can expect something in UFO where you can win an NFT. And for me, that's really exciting because the people that don't want to spend that money or that wouldn't normally jump into the NFTs have an avenue for potentially getting one. As we look at the Wilderness pin boxes, it was announced that they will not have a Wave 2 similar to what Nightfall did. So the pin boxes, the Wave 1s that are out there, those are going to be it. If you're interested in the pin boxes, get some of those. I have 2 on the way whenever those ship. They haven't shipped yet. And I'm pretty excited for some of those to hopefully get one of the alternative arts, maybe a Bigfoot. And I know my daughter's going to love the unicorn pin, so I don't get to keep that if I pull one of those. And then in every MetaZoo Hour, it's always asked about the treasure hunt. It was asked again, but we got confirmation that it's going to happen in May. And from what I understand, it's actually a pretty interesting concept where each state is going to have participation in the treasure hunt, which is really interesting. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm not in a heavily populated area. And typically when big events happen, it's not up here. It's not, I need to travel to Boston if I want to do something. So to understand that something is actually going to be happening in my state, I'm likely to participate. So that's all I have for this week's update. Thank you for watching. As I mentioned, I do have some theories on the golden ticket and the design of the golden ticket, so I will be putting a video together for that in the coming days. And as I plan to start doing these smaller dedicated topic videos going forward, it would be great to have an understanding of what do you guys want to know more about. So if there's a topic that you want me to cover, leave a comment below and tell me so I can get that prepared. What do you guys want a deep dive on? These weekly updates are really meant to kind of scratch the surface, get the information out there for the masses that aren't on the Discord channels or aren't watching the Facebook feed or whatnot. So please let me know the topics that you're interested in understanding more about. All right, well, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.